What are your plans for the next 5 years, Rick?
Well, it's interesting you should ask that. As I mentioned to you before, I've been doing this for quite a while, and I'd like to help as many people as I can in the next 5 years because, Lord willing, these might be my last 5 years. And I don't mean, anything other than possibly I might be retiring soon. So,
okay. I was getting a little nervous here. Wait a minute, something you haven't told me? I mean, we talk.
It's survival mode. What you doing?
Welcome to another edition of Survival Mode. What you doing? Hi, I'm Bert Robinson.
I'm Kevin Beers.
And we are going to have a show for you today. An old friend of mine from back in my radio days. Oh my goodness, I tell you. Kevin, how are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Are you staying out of trouble? You know, I ask you this all the time.
Yes, you do. And you never define trouble.
I'm never going to.
Okay. I'm staying out of trouble.
You're staying out of trouble. Okay, good. I'm a friend of mine from back in the day. Now, he might be mad at me because I'm saying his age or anything, but I'm not saying his age. Rick Anthony with Movement Mortgage. How you doing, Rick?
I'm doing wonderful, bro.
Oh, wonderful. Great, man. Great. You know, one of the reasons we got you on the show is because we know that you like to help people with their financial situation and preparing them to get their first or their second or their third house. Am I correct, sir?
Yeah, I enjoyed very much, Bert, and thank you and Kevin for giving me the opportunity to come on the show and just share some of the things that I could share, which might be a benefit and a help to those who are listening. This is my passion, to be able to offer advice and just give some direction for those who might be looking for improved credit scores and to qualify for financing for a new home.
Oh, wait a minute now. You just take care of the whole gambit. You start from the beginning all the way to the end. You know, you help them out, prepare for the, making sure they got the right credit, their debt to income ratios, set for that mortgage, right?
Oh, yeah. As I mentioned, I've been doing it for a while. And way back when I first started, I was getting more than my fair share of credit challenged customers. And so, it was just, customer after customer having some type of challenge. So I initially took up the, task of just kind of helping and giving some direction to people and seeing them not qualify to do things that they need to do. Credit scores would raise and then they would qualify. And so it became something that I got very passionate about over the years.
And I know that for Kevin, let me tell you something about this guy. Now, we're going to talk a little bit later about a program that this gentleman has had for free to people to help them out. Okay. Help them out. You know what? Let's get into it now. Let's go ahead and get into it.
Okay. Actually, before we go there, I did have a question for you. You said you were just helping people find some direction. What were you doing at the time that put you in the position to do that?
Oh, good question.
Well, I have been in the mortgage business for close to 40 years, and I was a loan officer. Okay. And people were inquiring to, get loans to purchase homes. So that's how the people were coming to me. And the ones that were having the difficulty in qualifying, they didn't understand at the time. And one of the things that I really promote, it doesn't take a lot to be able to, raise a credit score. Mm-hmm. It really doesn't. It just takes knowing what to do. And in some cases, it's as simple as maybe, paying an account down, something just that, simplistic. So that's what I was doing. That's what I was running into.
Oh, okay. All right. Now let's go.
Now let's go into it.
Let's
go into it. I want you to tell everybody, because I remember when I was on the radio, you were talking about this. Tell everybody about the program that you used to have that I know that, there's some plans in order to get it back into full swing. Tell us about it.
Well, yeah. I never really went completely away from it. It's something I started many years ago, maybe about 20 years ago, and I call it the Home Buyers Club. And what was happening is the people were investing big dollars back then in credit repair companies. And even now, some of those companies are charged hundreds and hundreds of dollars to help people do what they can do for themselves. They just simply need to know what to do. And so back then, I was just helping the people. And it occurred to me that for what it took for me to help, I was able to help groups of people and share the same information. And so that's how the Home Buyer Club evolved. And so initially, what I wanted to do was to use it as a give back type of project. And I didn't charge for it. My reward was the ones that came to me initially wanted to purchase a home. And if I was able to help them improve their credit scores, that they would be able to qualify for purchasing a home, then they might just consider allowing me to do the loan.
Just might consider, just might. We're not sure, but they might consider you.
They might consider me, but it was no obligation, and certainly nothing is in the way of charges. It was more of a give back program. When you've been around and you've done this for a while, you should try to do something to give back to the community. And it may even come back to you. Most of the time it does, actually. People are, they're appreciative that someone would take the time and to show them what to do and not charge them. So, I've gotten a lot of warm reception for that over the years.
Yeah, that's something I find a lot of times. There's a lot of skeptical people out there that they would look at something like that and say, oh, well, you're using that as a marketing ploy to get people in to, do the mortgage with you. But we do the same thing. We educate people on how money works. And our goal is, if you want to do business with us, that's great. But if you don't, at least you're equipped with the right questions to go somewhere else. And the goal isn't to, the goal is to educate them, not just to get their business. It oftentimes, like you said, oftentimes comes back. And I guess if you think about it that way, it would be a good ploy, but our motivation isn't, the motivation is different. And I think most people can see through that. If you're just doing that to get their business, they're going to pick up on that
quickly.
They're
going to pick up, no doubt, no doubt.
But if you're just giving it because you want to give it, they know that too. And it's this weird, like, if you do the right thing for the right reasons, it comes back. If you do the right thing for the wrong reasons, it doesn't.
It's your body. Sometimes I look at it. It's your body language, is how you present yourself to somebody.
Yes.
That gives it there. And I remember listening to you and Rick, and we had some one-on-one conversations, and I know for a fact that you're real in what you do and real in what you say. And that's one of the reasons that I got you to come on. I didn't have to beat him to come on, Kevin. I just said, come on.
Yeah, I was just going to interject there. It is true that people are skeptical of why you're doing this and, what's in it for you. And when I start off with these group sessions, I tell them, I say, look, I'm going to share information which is going to help you improve your credit score. But I don't have them sign anything. I don't press anybody to make any obligations.
There you go.
It's more or less the same system that we all are used to, where if you give, it'll come back to you.
Amen.
So,
I said it.
With that in mind. And if it doesn't, that's okay too. I've had people, I'll never forget the lady who told me one day, she called me and thanked me for, the help I was to her as far as her credit, and she was able to buy a home. She bought it with someone else, but that's okay, because you know what? She was so grateful and so thankful that she even thought and referred someone else to me who needed help, and I was able to help them. So it's okay. That's fine. It's not, I don't do it. No strings attached.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Right. That's a true give back program right there.
Yeah. I was thinking about, the home situation that's going with us, in real time right now, with this being a seller's market right now.
Yeah.
Okay. And with the pandemic that's going on right now, we're getting out of the pandemics, I guess, right now. Is it gotten better for you in helping people, because they've gone through the pandemic, they still want to change, they still want to get a house, but the situation is a little different. Have you found that to be the case? Yeah,
it is. The biggest challenge is that we offer first-time home buyer loans where there is no down payment required. which is great because at that point, people can purchase a home and don't have to worry about the down payment. But that product does not take into account closing costs. And on a $200,000 house, closing costs could be, $5,000 or $6,000. And so being a seller's market, sellers are not as apt to pay closing costs or contribute to that concession as they would have normally in a normal market. So that's where its biggest challenge is that some of the people are able to, get the first-time home buyer's loan and not have to make a down payment, but there's still the issue of closing costs. However, I will say that the stimulus checks that we've seen, a couple of times within the last few months, have helped a lot of people. And many of them have used that towards closing costs and become homeowners with it.
Wow. Okay. And that's going right back into the economy even quicker.
Yeah. Okay. It's been good. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's what I wanted to find out about that. Now, what do you foresee happening, let's say, next year or the next couple of years? You think it's going to turn? I mean, just based on what your expertise.
Well, I have a lot of industry information and, prognosis and predictions and such. We think interest rates will stay low for at least the remainder of this year and maybe into next year. That's what some of the so-called experts are saying. So it's a great time for somebody who might be listening to this to decide that, now's the time to buy a home. Get started now. Work on your credit. In fact, I had a couple of things that we could, if we have time, talk about in regards to credit. But do it now. It's the middle of 2021. Rates should still be really good through the end of this year. I don't think it's a time to rush out and do anything, but it is a time to do something about getting credit prepared and getting home readiness now.
Okay, well, if that's the case, you want to let's talk to people. All right, let's talk to people about that. First of all, how can they reach you?
Well, two ways. The best way is my phone number is 804-356-2758. That's 804-356-2758. I have a website, which is really good because there they can actually start the process and no obligation. And my website is www.mortgagemanrick.com. That's
The Mortgage Man.
Mortgagemanrick.com. Yes.
Okay. He's not the magic man, but he's the mortgage man.
The mortgage man. That's right. And then there's always the email, which is rick.anthony@movement.com.
Okay. Now you're in the Richmond area and you work all this, pretty much the state of Virginia, right?
Yes, I'm all over the state of Virginia. That's correct.
Okay. All right. So, we want to let everybody know he's in Virginia, but, we've got some listeners that are viewers. I keep, as go my radio days. We got some viewers that are out of town. How can you help them?
I'm glad you said that because that goes back to what we were just speaking about. You might have listeners that are listening in, Texas or Illinois or some Ohio or somewhere.
I've got some in Colorado. And that's a great way to prove the point. I don't lend personally in those areas, but I'm willing to help anyone in those areas that may need some credit help. And I think that proves the point of my intent and sincerity of this being a true give back program. If you live in Colorado, I can't help you with a loan there. I'm not doing business in Colorado, but you're welcome to call me and inquire about your credit challenges. Okay. You see, now that's giving back to the community.
Right.
I like that.
Right.
So, Kevin, I know we've been talking about giving back to the community on a consistent basis.
Right.
What can we do to help him, help Rick Anthony, the mortgage man? Is it, I like that. The mortgage man. I was thinking, we should have him on again, talking more about, the process and things of that nature. We're going to talk a little bit right now, but, it's important, because people have a lot of issues with their credit. And that helps with their finances. Getting that credit straight can be able to, once they get that, the credit straight, they can use their money to do better investments.
Right. And the thing is with COVID and a lot of people being out of work, I know a lot of people have been set back. So,
Right.
Which brings up credit issues, even though there were moratoriums on different, like you don't have to pay your rent. When they came out and said you don't have to pay your rent, people didn't pay the rent. And then all of a sudden, that's going to run out if it hasn't run out already.
It's going to run out.
Right.
In some states, they're trying to get it to run out
so
immediately.
There are going to be credit issues.
There's going to be some serious ramifications on that.
Maybe if we just talk about that, like, okay, perhaps you didn't stop paying rent on purpose. It was like you just didn't have the money. What steps do you really have now? Your credit's going to be damaged for sure. So how do we start that process of fixing credit? Or did I give you a good scenario, or do I really need to fix that up?
That's a wonderful, wonderful segue into how the Homebuyer Club works.
Okay.
What we would do with the Homebuyer Club is I would arrange a group session. And the group session in these days of COVID, I've been doing by Zoom. And so the group session is basically where I would discuss the details of how the credit score system works. We'll talk about what things affect the score and how much it would affect the score, and certain things you should do and certain things you should not do. And so we'll talk about those things to give you a good understanding of how the credit system works. It's akin to, if you have a car and you understand some of the basics of the mechanical parts of how it runs, then it gives you a better idea as to how it works for you. So that's the first thing we do in the Homebuyers Club. Now, I do that as a group session. That's a group, and it's pretty generic information. And by the way, the information is no, secret stuff. It's just some details of some of the things that goes beneath the surface on how it works. Okay, now, at the point that we cover the group session, then I will make it available for someone to do a one-on-one. And that's where, they call and they talk with me one-on-one. And then I talk a little bit more individual and personalized. And so that's done as a, individual session. And so we wouldn't talk about anybody's anybody's individual circumstances in a group session.
Sure. Of course.
Information. But I do offer that. And so at the point we do that, then I will end it with a plan. And I usually like to have at least a 3-part action plan for the person. And I would say to them, here is the 3 things that I suggest you do. Now, the beauty of this is I don't charge for this. And so I'm not concerned with, anybody, thinking that I'm trying to do anything to take advantage of it. It's free advice. It's something that I'm offering to help. And it's just a consultation with no obligation and no strings attached. So being in the business 40 years and having done thousands of loans over this period of time, that's my credentials to say, well, I might know a little bit about how this credit thing works.
Sure.
That's what I'm offering to help. And that's how the Homebuyer Club works. And the idea is that they would get in the club. And, what I would only ask them to do in the club is to try to follow through with the 3 suggestions. If we meet and I talk and I give you an idea of the 3 things you should do, if there's something that I would ask of you, is to follow through. Just simply follow through. If I tell you that, there'd be a good idea to maybe, try to get a settlement here, try to consolidate your student loans here, try to pay down that balance on a credit card here, try to go out and become an authorized user on someone else's credit card. These are just some of the things you can do. It's probably a dozen things that could be applicable. But the thing that I would ask is simply follow through. Try it, do it. It's your credit. You have to do it. I can't do it for you. Mine is just some direction. And that's how the Homebuyer Club works. We don't charge to do it for you. We don't call you creditors. We won't call you creditors. I won't do any of that. But I will tell you what to do, and you can do it. And that's how it works.
So the information that you give, you try to take some of the fear out of doing it.
Well, yeah, as I said, we start off by explaining how the credit system works. So that should take some of the fear out of it because you have a better understanding of how it works. And then at that point in time, and that's the group session. And then, we talk about the individual moves you need to make.
Right. Yeah, that's actually how we do business too.
Pretty much.
We do a presentation for a group, and then you can sit with us one-on-one. And again, yeah, same as you, no charge for doing that. If we end up doing business, that's how we end up getting paid. If we don't do business, you're actually just better off because you met us.
Yeah.
No, because it met you. I mean, that's what you're trying to say, right?
Well, I definitely would go with that. Yeah.
No, I figured you do. I figured you would. Well, let's see. I know I had more questions, but they're eluding me right now, and I had them written down. But let's do this one. What are your plans for the next 5 years, Rick?
Well, it's interesting you should ask that. As I mentioned to you before, I've been doing this for quite a while, and I'd like to help as many people as I can in the next 5 years, because, Lord willing, these might be my last 5 years. And I don't mean, anything other than possibly I might be retiring soon. So,
okay. I was getting a little nervous here. Wait a minute, something you haven't told me? I mean, we talk.
Well, I've been doing it long enough, so that's a great question, Bert, because I'd like to kind of go out with a bang and help as many people as I can. See, the beauty of what I do with this credit program in the Home Buyers Club is this information that's been put together for people to use for their benefit as they are already. It's already there. It's just somebody just needs to explain it to them, tell them how it works and how it can work for them. And so a goal for me for the next 5 years is to help as many people as I can. That'd be a wonderful goal.
What's the biggest stumbling block you find people have to following through?
Procrastination. Number one.
Oh, so they're not from the United States. They're from the procrastination.
That's right. We all have some.
No, it was almost like a joke. Didn't work well, but they're in that nation.
No, you can keep that one in. That's but we're all guilty of some form of procrastination. But when it comes to something like your credit, you just need to start now. I know that there's people that have been through a lot of hits. It's called life. And they've had some setbacks and everything from divorces to loss of employment and maybe even some bad investments and some other things, certainly the COVID situation. But, the long journey starts with the first step.
Exactly.
And so take that first step, start the process. Not everybody has, maybe people who are born with money and this kind of thing, but a lot of people, including myself, were not born with a silver spoon. So, we had to do it, and we started one step at a time. Just start.
There you go.
Don't procrastinate, just start. I could bring, and this is something I thought about doing as I repackaged the Home Buyer Club, is to bring testimonies from people who have actually done it and, their journey. And in many cases, what you'll hear constantly, time and time again, is I didn't think I could ever buy a house. I didn't think I could ever do it. I didn't think it was for me. I thought I'd been through too much. Until everybody says it couldn't be done until they did it.
There you go.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that part about it because, you're going to have to get some of those guests on, with us. We can talk to them as well.
Well, I can. It's just a story from my own life. From the time I started working when I started working, when I was 13, but when I got my first, let's call it my first real job at 20, I never missed a payment on anything ever. I had a perfect credit score. And then I guess it's about 10 years now. 10 years ago, the company I worked for, we worked for another company, and they went out of business. And all of a sudden, the revenue to our company
just fell.
Disappeared, basically. Mm-hmm. Basically, 80% of it was gone. I got laid off. And I'm an engineer who doesn't actually have a college degree. So I couldn't get another job. And I was out of work for a year and a half. my credit score took a nosedive because I couldn't meet my payments. I prided myself on the fact that I never missed a payment, and all of a sudden my credit is shot. Luckily, I already had my home, but we almost lost that a couple of times along the way. And when I went to refinance my home, I had to do all that credit repair in order to be able to do the refinance. And just some of the things that you've already talked about, it was, one step at a time. Just, okay, I need to fix this one thing first. Then I need to fix this other thing. And we just walked through the process till my credit score was high enough. I was able to refinance, restructure debt, and it just kind of snowballs from there where everything gets good again.
Yeah.
It's just
Everybody's gone through something.
right.
Yeah, that's a very common story. It's just that, people have had an event that has happened and set them back. And then maybe somebody listening to us during this time that we're talking, that describes them. And I'm here to encourage you, just, go for it. Just go for it and just take the step. Don't continue to procrastinate. Bad credit has a habit of staying bad if you don't do anything to make it.
Oh, really? If you don't do anything about it, it's going to stay that way?
Well, and I will attest to that too, because I procrastinated.
Kevin?
Yeah, this is before I knew anything about finance.
Oh, okay.
But the thing was, it was the fear.
Right.
I was afraid. Well, if I call the credit card company, what are they going to say? Because like I'm behind on my payments. Are they going to, I was so afraid of what they were going to say. I just refused. I just didn't call.
Do you know they like it when you call?
I found that out.
They like it when you call. I mean, spoiler alert.
So I have 2 credit cards I'm dealing with. The one, I was just avoiding their calls. And I guess, I don't know, for some reason I picked up. And they're like, well, let's work out a payment plan that was reasonable and I could afford it. And that went well. So I called the other credit company right away because I'm like, oh, this is so easy. And they're like, oh, we're way past that. So here's how it's going to work. And I felt almost like I was being punished. But had I not procrastinated, I could have worked the same kind of thing.
You were being punished.
Well, I was.
You were being punished.
Because I procrastinated.
There you go.
And it just kept getting worse because of it.
That snowball effect that you were talking about earlier in the good way, it can happen in the bad way.
Yes. So letting that fear overtake you.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hoping people that are listening to us hear this and it's like, okay, yeah, I am afraid, but I'll make the call anyway.
There you go. Do it. Make the call. Speaking about making a call, we need to know your number again.
804-356-2758.
Okay. Your email address?
My email address is rick.anthony, ANTHONY, at movement, MOVEMENT.com.
All right. And wait a minute. This is the part I like. What's your website again? What's the website again?
The website. Mortgage Man. That would be me. MortgageManRick.com.
There you go.
That's the easy one to remember. I was going to add something to what Kevin was sharing as well. The companies that you have credit with, it's to their advantage to work with you. Mm-hmm. And so you really don't want to take a position of avoiding them and not calling them, because certainly if you're not paying them, then, there's no advantage for them to work with you. But when you show a willingness to try to do something to correct your situation, you'll be surprised at what you can do. Now, to that example, very few people know that you can actually get a loan and buy a house while you're presently in a Chapter 13 bankruptcy.
What? Say it again. Say it again.
Yeah. Very few people know that you can get a loan to purchase a home while you're in a Chapter 13 bankruptcy repayment plan. And so the main point to know about that is that when you're in the Chapter 13 bankruptcy plan, you are paying your bills back, and you're paying them back through the court, but you're paying them back. And so therefore, once you've established a payment record through the court, and you've made those bankruptcy payments for at least 12 months, you made them on time, with the permission of your trustee, you can purchase a home. I know because I've done several of them.
Okay.
Okay. I will add that if you end up with issues with the IRS, as long as you establish a repayment plan, it's considered handled
Right.
at that point.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
See, now that I knew that one.
I'm not saying I have personal experience with it, though I might.
But talking to a fair amount of people, I can tell you that I have run into people that have experienced that, and you're absolutely right. But that's more to the point. It is face up to whatever challenges that you're having. Many people will be surprised at how willing the creditor is to work with them. And so now that's another reason to go ahead and start now. It is important that you start now. And we're in a wonderful time for home purchasing. Even though it's a seller's market, interest rates are just amazing. And so it's still a good time to start.
Let's do something. If you're out there right now, we encourage you to give Rick Anthony a call or go to his website, go to his email, and we're going to have it on the screen for you so you can, see that information. But do something now. Get rid of that fear. That fear is going to stop you, and it will continue to stop you. We want you not to survive. We want you to thrive. See, not just a survival mode, but let's thrive. Okay.
Survival mode is just paycheck to paycheck.
That's it.
You never get anywhere.
That's why we're giving you the information. Rick, we really do appreciate you being on with us today. We're going to have you on again because we want to get more into depth, okay, about what's going on. But let's once again, Rick, what's the phone number?
Okay, the phone number is here in the Central Virginia area, 804-356-2758. That's 804-356-2758. My email,
Go ahead.
Email address is rick.anthony@movement.com. And my website is mortgagemanrick.com.
There you go. mortgagemanrick.com. I love that. Okay. Remember, I'll do your commercials from now on. Okay. Just remember that one. Once again, thank you ever so much for coming on the show. We're going to have you back on again real soon, sometime in the summer, because, wow, we need to buy houses.
Yeah.
Need to buy houses.
Yeah, and can I just add one thing?
Of course.
When you do give me an opportunity to come back, we'll unveil a full schedule for the Home Buyer Club.
Full schedule.
Now that the COVID thing is getting a little better, I have expedited getting it started again. I obviously, like so many things, kind of suspended what things we were doing with the club during the COVID times. But now, as we come out of that, I'm very anxious to get that going again. So with your permission, the next time you invite me, I'll have a full schedule of group meetings for the Home Buyer Club.
Oh, most definitely.
Okay.
Most definitely.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it.
So how do people find us?
Well, you can find us at survivalmodewd@gmail.com, or you can just, let me see, how else can you find us?
Facebook.
Oh, that's right. Facebook.
YouTube.
Keep going.
Right.
What we're on right now.
Yes.
Okay.
And
subscribe to us.
Right. Hit the
bell.
Hit the bell. Smash the bell.
Smash the bell.
The notification bell is what it's called.
That's what it's called.
Right.
Okay.
And the website should be up very soon.
What?
Yeah, we're getting there.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
You and Mina are doing that one?
Yep.
Oh my goodness. Website is coming.
Right. And these episodes will be out there so you can play them over and over and get the information as many times as you might need it.
All right. Well, once again, everybody, thank you for joining us with Survival Mode. We will be back next week with another edition of Survival Mode. What you doing? I'm Bert Robinson.
I'm Kevin Beers.
We'll see you soon. Bye-bye now.
It's survival mode. What you doing?